Hi, all. Thank you guys so much for joining us this evening. This is our special guest, Jen Brett, our awesome upline. I coerced her into joining us this evening.
No, you didn't, Shush.
Just to jump on here, and I really want you guys to get to know her because we all see each other kind of roaming the halls of Facebook, and it's not as personal as I feel like it could be. So she's an awesome leader. I kind of wanted to pick her brain. I have a few questions for her. And I wanted you guys to be around for them. So I'm going to turn it over to the star of the show. And I just want to, Jen, go ahead and have you just kind of tell your story from the beginning until now.
Yeah, cool. I'll sum it up for sure. It's nothing crazy. I know that some people have like this spectacular, crazy story, but at the same time, I feel like those are the ones we can't always relate to. So my story is more, I guess, average. So I joined in October 25th. So the very end of October of 2014. And actually what happened was I wrote Emily after seeing her obnoxious post. She was one of my good friends. We were actually neighbors. And I was like, fine. I had actually seen her post about anxiety, like her. And I know it's not compliant to say, but at the time she was posting about anxiety because we could at the time. And so I had seen her post and I struggled with anxiety horribly. I had tried everything under the sun for anxiety, like in an embarrassing way. Like I got to the point even as a mom where I'm like, maybe like doing something illegal would help me just sleep at night, if you catch my drift. Like I was just desperate. I was desperate to be able to lay down with my husband in bed and not feel like crazy, like just so high strung and anxiety ridden. And so I was like, well, maybe this will help. And we were actually, 1 second, you guys. Reagan, you don't have it? Okay, you need to be quiet and wait until Daddy can bring it to you, okay? Thank you. Sorry, mommy life. And so I was like desperate for relief. We were actually in the car driving home with all three of our kids. We drove from California to Missouri and back to visit family. And I was on our drive home. And at this point I had been watching Emily's posts since July. So for 5 months. And I wrote her and I'm like, okay, maybe I am ready to jump on this Plexus train. And mind you, 2 months before that, Emily had texted me and said, hey, are you home? And it was usual because we hung out all the time. And I'm like, yeah, what's up? And she comes over and knocks on my door and had a 3-day trial pack of Slim and Boost in her hand. And I was already thinking, oh my gosh, because I already was like talking crap on her posts and stuff. Like I was one of those who was like, that's for lazy people. Like, why is she trying to push this on me? I was just one of those, I mean, to be honest. And she dropped it off to me and I drank one pink drink and then I Googled it and saw bad reviews and I threw the other 2 in the trash and I threw the Boost in the trash. Like, no, I was so skeptical. And so.
What is this girl feeding me? Come on.
I know. And so I never talked to her about it again and she never brought it up, and then a couple of months went by and I texted her, like I said, when I was in the car after this vacation and my kids are in the car, we're driving like halfway across the country and I text her, I'm like, fine, maybe I'm ready to jump on the Plexus train and I think that I might want to make a little bit of money with it because I was at that turning point of being a stay-at-home mom to where we were drowning in debt and barely making ends meet and I felt like I need to contribute somehow. So maybe this could be it. She claims she's making money. And so at the time, Emily was barely a gold ambassador. And I went ahead and I told her I was going to join, but then I went on her website and I chickened out and I shot preferred. And I shot preferred and she got my order and she wrote me, she's like, yeah. And she was like being a good ambassador and she was like, I love the choice you made. This way you can get your money back if you don't like it. And I was like fully ready to get my money back because I wanted to prove her wrong so badly because I was just like so skeptical of this stuff. And like 3 days later, I was telling my cousin about it and she wanted to order. And so I turned to my husband and I'm like, our cousin wants to buy it. Like, is this the point where I'm supposed to pay that $35? Supposedly you get a website. Like, I don't really know what I'm getting myself into. And he just kind of gave me the green light, whatever you want to do, I don't care. We didn't know anything about MLMs. We knew nothing about network marketing, nothing. So then I joined her team and got a sale immediately because I joined because of that sale. So I was like kind of ready to do a business, but at the same time had no clue whatsoever what the heck I was getting myself into in any way, shape, or form. I didn't look into the business at all before I joined. So from that point, I posted on my Facebook, and then I got a bunch of interest, and because people just knew this was something that I would never usually do, they knew it was really unlike me, and I would always preach about eating clean and going to the gym and stuff. So I kind of made like a humbling post like, okay, you guys know me, I wouldn't ever usually do something like this, but I'm actually really loving these products. So October rolls around. I hadn't had any anxiety. To be honest, the products pretty much worked instantly for me. Like within the first week, I started feeling better, and I definitely had die-off symptoms, and I toughed through them. I was on triplex, and then my headaches went away, which I've had every day. That's awesome. Yeah, I started feeling better like instantly, and my headaches went away, which is something I never knew it could help with. Like I said, none of this is compliant to say, but obviously because we're on Zoom, just I guess don't share this Zoom publicly. My headaches went away, and then all of a sudden, like my entire life I've been nauseous every day, like always green at the face. Like I would steal as in she gave them to me, but my best friend, when she would get out of her first trimester, because she has a lot of babies, when she'd get out of her first trimester, she'd give me like her anti-nausea pills, and I would take them just because I would always just feel nauseous like after I ate. All of that went away. And then it was like a couple months went by, and for the first time since I was 11, so ever in my life, I had regular clock-like cycles. I mean, these products are just doing things that I never expected. And on top of all of that, I didn't have anxiety. I was sleeping like a baby, wasn't nervous. Like I was able to lay down with my husband and feel relaxed and calm and not like a nervous wreck. And that was just night and day compared to anything I had felt in years. So that's my product testimony, and that has continued for 2 years. My business testimony, like I said, I got that first customer right away because it was the reason I joined. Like when she was ready to order, she ordered that night when I signed up for my website real quick to send her the link. I got a few more customers within that week. And then November 15th, I got my first paycheck, and in November I went silver. And I remember my December 15th paying for Christmas, and I was crying because I was like, I was like, oh my gosh, babe, and he was kind of like, he was really happy about it, but he'll tell anybody now, like at the time, he was like, I still thought it was like a pyramid scheme or something. Like, I don't know what you got yourself into. I just knew like it paid for Christmas and you were like making money, and then, so silver, and then it took me until March to go gold. So it's 5 months to go gold. I steadily joined my team, and it wasn't until December 31st on New Year's Eve, we were on vacation in North Carolina, visiting with our closest friends, and somebody joined my team who I knew would be really, really good at this. Like that person where you're like, oh my God, did they just really join my team? That person you kind of wait for and you wish for. Of all days, New Year's Eve, like right before midnight. I don't know what she was doing.
Revolution style, maybe.
Yeah, and she ran with it. And so all the way up until, then gold, I hit gold shortly after because she started building her team in March. So it still took me 3 months. But then it was definitely, and I mean, I can confidently say it was because of her being my main runner. On May 31st, she went gold and I went senior gold. So up to that point, I had a runner under me who was really lifting me up. I would have probably been gold around the end of May if it wasn't for her. But then June came, it was convention, and I didn't even hit my senior gold points that I had just gotten at the end of May. July came, I didn't hit them again. August came, I think I broke even on senior gold. September, October, November, December, January came. And I had gotten, in case you guys don't know, senior gold is 250 points. And by the end of January, I was ending with 330 points. So in that time, my husband left on deployment. He was deployed from March. So when I went senior gold, I went gold right after he left on deployment. End of May, I went senior gold. So he had been gone for a couple months. So I really had time to dig into my business. But then the rest of the deployment actually on us, I don't know if any of you have lived the military life. I know Rhea, definitely you have, and Jen, obviously, but this deployment got really, really rough, like really rough. And, but within that time around September, my husband actually made the decision to not re-enlist. So crap got real because I was like, oh my gosh. And it was definitely because of my Plexus business that we made that decision, because he was like, well, both of us were saying, you know, we have this extra income. It's a steady, you know, at that time it was like $1,500 a month. And that was really good for us. That was enough for us to feel safe, in the sense that we're not a single income family anymore. Like, we would be okay for you to get out and get another job. And so, so end of January, he was home at this point, but I had really slacked on my business when he was gone, especially at the end. Like, not everybody made it home from that deployment safely. I mean, it just really took a toll on us, and I was really worried about my husband. So then the holidays came, my husband was home from deployment. I was really just relishing in that. And I still was working my business on a day-to-day basis, but certainly not reaching out to my 5 to 10 people personally a day. Certainly, you know, nothing like that where I would have really been building momentum in my team and building momentum in my business. And so I just stood still. I stood still for 9 months. And then at the end, in January, I walked into January telling my husband, I'm drawing my line in the sand. Like, I'm not going to be senior gold anymore. I need to move on to Ruby. Am I just going to sit here forever at senior gold? You know, like, you know, when it's certain things in your life, you just come to that point where you're like, I'm changing this. And so I know that it sounds like senior gold isn't a bad place to be stuck. I'm fully aware of that. We were bringing in, you know, over $1,000 a month. However, when you're stuck for that long, like, it doesn't feel good anymore. You feel like, you know, like, how's my team going to build momentum if I'm not moving? Like, what is going on, you know? And so,
well, we all get stuck, and I'm excited to hear. Yeah, I'm excited to hear it. That's the question I'm like thinking about in my mind. So remind me to ask you that later.
And so, you know what, you guys, I'm going to push mute really quick, and I'm so sorry, but I have to, my husband went MIA, and I have to give my kid oh, hold on one second. Reagan, I'm coming.
So are we so excited about our guest, you guys? I was so excited for her to come on today. Me too. She has a cool story, and I wanted you guys to hear. Oh, okay, also this chat feature is awesome. I had no idea how to work it, obviously. Rhea, you're a trailblazer. Amazing, this one. I was totally chuckling as Jen was talking about trying to prove everybody wrong, because when I started seeing her post, she was the only one that was posting about Plexus. And, oh, Kelly, look, you figured it out too. This is awesome. When she was saying that she wanted to prove everybody wrong about the products, yep, that's kind of where I was at. Megan, yay, good job. And at the ball, I remember, so this is November, this girl was working her business for like a month, maybe, all of that. And so she busts out her block, because you know the ball, we get a little alcohol crazy. So she busts out block, and she's like, hey, why don't you take these? I'm telling the ball story, Jen.
Yeah, no, cool.
Yeah, it gave me block. So she's like, hey, you want a couple of these? This is the So she was like, hey, you want a couple of these? It helps block like 48% carbs and sugar out of your.
Because I knew she was a huge skeptic. So I really, Jen, when I offered you block, I thought you were going to tell me no. I like popped pills out of my bag. I'm like, I mean, if you want them, it couldn't hurt, right? It like blocks half your sugar. And I'm like, she's my biggest skeptic. She's going to kill me for offering.
I was like looking at her sideways for real. I was like, whatever. So I did. And, you know, for any of you that have taken block, you really don't feel like anything from it particularly. Yeah. So I took it just kind of whatever, like more, like more or less to satiate Jen.
Yep.
But anyway, it was a cool introduction. But this girl never, you know, she didn't ever like ask me about it. Like, do you want to try it? Do you want information? She probably knew, Jen. You probably knew that like I had to do my research.
Skeptical?
Well, yeah, obviously, but like,
yeah. I was like nervous to approach her about it just because I knew she stood exactly where I stood with Emily, and I knew it wasn't like very positive about the whole
Well,
thing.
through deployments and stuff, we were, you know, working out, and even on training jets and stuff,
Right.
we were working out. And I remember walking home from the gym, or walking back to your house from the gym on Base Gen, and you telling me about how nauseous you were and like how confused you were about, like, I tried cutting kale out and like of your smoothies and stuff, and just how nauseous and stuff you were every single day, and like just being so frustrated about.
Definitely.
So anyway, continue, please.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you guys. Okay, so January came around and I was at 330 points and I had drawn that line in my sand. And so I told my husband, I'm sorry if dinners aren't the same. And, you know, but I really need you to support me in this. I'm going to like really dig in deep and I'm going to run with this, and it's not an option. I'm going to break past being senior gold. And I had his full support. He, you know, he totally gave me the green light and was like, I completely understand. You know, do what you got to do. He always says, get me that Lexus, go get me that Lexus. And so, and so I was like, okay. And so I really dug in deep in January, and I ended January with 330 points, and February I ended with 550. That is a huge jump.
Huge.
Yeah. And so I went Ruby in February, and then I made a goal for myself of 650 points in March. And so I hit that in March. And then in April, I hit that 755. I hit senior Ruby. And in May, I definitely slid backwards. I was like 100 points lower in May, just to be real with you guys. And then in June, I was about 50 points shy. And now this month was a big jump because of that 4th of July sale. And now I'll be pushed back over that senior Ruby. But that's been my business story so far. And definitely in January, when I dug my heels in the sand, you know, and I drew that line, I changed a lot. Like I started reading leadership books, or listening, I should say, because I listen to audibles, but leadership books up the wazoo, pouring into my runners as much as I could, gathering them together in group chats and trying to get them motivated. But most importantly, I started reaching out to 5 to 10 people every single day and following up consistently, because embarrassing as it is, but for those 9 months that I was stuck, I wasn't doing that. I already had a team established under me, and I know that a large part of me thought that they would duplicate and stuff. And I really got lazy with my own personal daily method of operation. And that completely changed in January, and you guys see where it took me. So yeah, that's my story so far on business. And
I love what you said about, well, first of all, I love how real you were with everybody. I think, you know, they see like the awesome, like higher, you know, pretty high ranking leader that we have on our team and stuff. And I think that it really brings it home for all of us to hear, you know, where you start from the bottom and look where you can wind up.
Yeah, I hope it does, you know, and I got stuck for a long time, and I've slid back a lot, and I've, you know, you name it. And, you know, it's real life, you guys. This is a real business. It's going to happen. It happens to everybody. So
what do you think? Was it just all of a sudden when you became unstuck? Did it just come to you? Was there something that really like set you off, or like, was there any one particular moment that made you unstuck?
I was laying in bed with Justin at night, and that's when I told, like, it was kind of like an aha moment where I felt fed up for the first time. I really felt fed up, and I just told him, you know what, like, I am not, like, something kind of just overcame me. I'm like, I need to either make this happen or I'm not going to.
Yeah,
like,
no more gray area.
Talking about new goals with everybody, like, where, you know, I have got to make this happen for myself. So yeah, exactly. I was ready. I was.
Sometimes, so. Well, and you know, you guys will come into potentials, sales or with the opportunity. I've been doing this 18 months, right, Jen? 19, I guess now.
Yeah.
I'm about to go gold. Hallelujah.
Yeah, you are.
But what's cool about it, even in this 19th month, there's people messaging me like, I'm kind of ready. I think I'm ready. You know, it's all in our own timing, and being ready is 100% of, well, sometimes 100% of it, but we really have to come into the decision.
Well, it's definitely 100% of how much effort you're going to put in personally.
Absolutely.
I mean, some people join and they accidentally find success. There's, you know, to be really frank with you guys, and I don't mean this gossipy at all, but it is a prime example of some of our upline, the people that are above Emily, they ran into Emily on accident, and look what Emily did. Emily went diamond so quickly. She went emerald in like 7 months. She promoted back to back to back to back. And for some people, it happens that way. Some people are like, oh my God, I got this level 2 who look at her go, you know, and that's why our compensation plan is set up to where people can surpass you so that it doesn't lift them all the way to the top. But there are some people who need to be ready and really run full force. And then there's other people who come in and then they accidentally get somebody under them who's going to be ready, you know, and run with them. Everybody's journey is different, but 90% of journeys, you have to be ready to put the work in yourself.
For sure.
Really, yeah.
Do you think that you've always been a leader, Jen, or do you think it's been something that you've had to learn along the way?
No. I think that I've always had the desire to lead. I've always had the desire to lead. That's actually my favorite part about this whole business. And I know that the politically correct thing to say would be my favorite part is helping people get healthy. And that's definitely my second runner up. But my favorite thing about my business is leading the team. So I think that I can honestly say, I think that naturally part of me, yes, was like a natural born leader in a lot of ways. Like I was like captain of my cheer squad and stuff like that. But like, you know, so I led in that way, but never like leading a group of adults. I would have never, you know, imagined. And everybody's on their own journey. They don't have to follow me, but even just being put into a leadership role is like really fun for me. So I don't know if that answers that question, but I think a little bit, but I've had to teach myself a lot. I mean, I wasn't always a good leader. I just had the desire to be one.
I remember you saying too, at some point, I think you and I were hanging out one time, but you were saying, oh, it was when, it doesn't matter when, but we were talking about the business and you were telling me that you really never, or in the beginning, you really never knew how essential it was to your business to lead. And
yeah.
That girl, that clicked with me when you said it. And then I read it again in the John Maxwell book. I'm like so excited and talking over myself, but in the 21 Laws of Leadership, he talks about, you know, how the vast majority of people are not born leaders and they don't really even know where to begin. But admitting that to yourself is enormous. And so I really related to you in retrospect, you know, remembering that you said that because so many of us aren't natural born leaders.
Right.
But it's something so fun to learn. That's really been like one of my favorite things too.
And it is something you can learn. I think it's like this misconception that people feel like if they weren't born a leader, then they can't be one. And John Maxwell has the best books to show people, no, you just have to teach yourself. Everybody can be a leader. You just have to teach yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, in the 21 Laws too, 21 Laws of Leadership, like that's kind of a duh, but it really like lays out for you kind of step by step. And it's a very easy read. I recommend every single individual on this call, please read it. Like if not for the Plexus reasons, not for your Plexus business, but just for, you know, being a good person. Like in life, it's a great.
That was the first leadership book I had ever read. Yeah, it's very good.
Awesome.
21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. Yeah.
There's an audio or an Audible for it too, Jen, right?
I don't know.
It'd be good to check into. Where my question? Oh, what do you think your strongest attribute as a leader is?
Oh gosh. I almost feel like, and I guess you guys would know better than me, but if I had to say from myself what I feel like it is, I feel like I'm good at connecting with individuals one-on-one and not only being their leader, but being their friend too. And I think it's really important in this business that because people that I didn't even know before Plexus, you know, if they join my team, all of my level ones, I have a unique friendship with. I formed one in one way, shape, or form. And then like my running leaders, I don't know if you remember, Jen, me gathering, I wanted to know everybody's love language. So that I just make sure that I'm connecting with that person in their language and And I hope I make individuals on my team feel like individuals and not like, you know, a number, because you're not. So.
Well, and that's a really special skill to have too, with as many, I mean, you're coming up on 500 people on your team, which is insane. Guys, this girl's on fire. And it's just awesome to feel. Oh yeah, thank you guys, Christina and Ria, for the Audible. It's super, it's an awesome feeling. If you guys have ever had, you know, a network marketing job, or even not a job, but you know what I mean. Either in network marketing or outside, like in a 9-to-5, not feeling appreciated as an individual and like your efforts is one of the most demotivating things in the world. And so to be included in such a strange industry that it's you know, kind of mystic. Nobody really has, the majority of us on this call even don't have network marketing experience. And so for us to go into something without true leadership in the way that we're talking about Jen having it is rare, and it's special. So we definitely appreciate you.
Oh, thank you.
If you could give, and this is the last question I have for you, if you could give one tip, what would it be? Only one.
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, I feel like it's one thought clustered into like 5 tips.
Okay, you can pick 2 because there's a lot.
I guess the main, like above everything else, is even when you don't feel like working your business that day, treat it as your job and work it anyway. Because there are so many days where even me at the point that, me and Emily text each other and call because our friendship, you know, has only gotten stronger since this. And we'll be texting, you know, like on Facebook Messenger, you can send those like GIF, like the funny little things. And we can send them all day to each other of like, today is not our day. But, you know, that's just me being raw with you guys, because if you look at the team pages and look at our personal Facebook, I would hope that you would never know that and you would never see that, you know, because it's so important to work it as your business even when you don't feel like it. So, I mean, those days, of course, aren't often, but it's just so important to push through them the same way that if you don't feel like going to work, you can't just call out sick every time you feel like it. So that's my biggest piece of advice. But I have to throw in that equal to that is reading network marketing books.
Huge.
Yeah.
As soon as I started reading, I was like you, Jen, I think like so many other people just on our team or in this industry in general, nobody really notices the value of being a leader to their team. You know, they jump on this thing kind of haphazardly, like, oh, maybe this can be a really cool thing for me. Maybe it's going to be fun. I'm joining a friend, like whatever the starting point is. And then get it, you know, as you climb, as your team builds, if you're trying to do that, you're like, well, okay, so why are people, you know, stopping or whatever? That was my point. You know, I love that because there is a point where sales can only get you so far. And I always had really, really good sales, but then my team started dwindling and I was like, well, what the heck am I doing wrong? As soon as you learn to start being a leader and start to pour into your teammates and, you know, do things for them. Jen, I saw, it was at that point that I kind of broke into that, but you model such a strong ethic that way. And it was so important for me to see that. So that was kind of my breaking point when I started working at full force and started really building the team that I have currently. So it was really cool to see you modeling that.
Yeah, definitely. And there was a huge shift in my leadership specifically in January. And I know the thing is counting down on us for 8 more minutes on this call, but I will say what a turning point for me personally, I can't promise that it will be for you, but if you guys look at the book, by Big Al, Building Network Marketing Leaders. And it was a book all eye-opening about the fact that I needed leaders under me. And I know to some of you guys, you might feel like this doesn't pertain to you because you don't have a growing team yet. I know that naturally it's going to feel like this and you're going to be like, this is beyond me. But I promise you that this is all good knowledge to have. And these are great books to read before your team even grows because you don't know when someone's going to join your team. I've had ambassadors join my team who I had never, ever talked to about Plexus before, ever. They were the last person I got an email and was confused as heck type thing. So you don't know what's going to happen to you. Yeah. I mean, it's just true. And when you're posting consistently on Facebook, you just don't know who's watching. Yeah. And so it's really important to develop yourself as a leader, even if you don't have anybody on your team, or even if you don't feel like you need to be a leader if you only have one person on your team. I promise you, even if you have only one person under you, it is so important to portray those leadership skills. And like I said, even if you have nobody under you yet, the key word is yet, and you don't know when that person's going to join. So it's so important to pour into yourself and treat yourself as a leader, develop yourself as a leader before your team has even started growing. I wish I would have done that. I probably would be Emerald or Sapphire by now. Yeah. It took such a long time to jump on that, but I mean, I'm not angry about it.
I mean, when you're ready, you're ready. Like that's really what it comes down to. We're so lucky to have you guys. We're so lucky to have the leadership that we have. We're all still learning every single day, and by no means are Jen and I, Emily, perfect. Even her uplines, they're not perfect. They're still learning. Unfortunately, I can speak for myself, but at convention, so much snapped into place. It was almost like a puzzle happened. Like I was able to sit with Jen in her little senior groovy section, and I had perpetual chills that whole time. I was like, this is going to be my seat next year. It was just so inspiring, and it really gave me vision for me personally, but more importantly, you guys. I want you guys to be in those spots tomorrow, much less next year. So seeing them lead the way that they do and taking the steps that they do, this is not something that we have to reinvent the wheel. That was one of the biggest things that I've learned along this venture. People have done this before for years and years. We just have to take their advice. So with that, we're going to close up shop because we only have 5 more minutes to talk. Is there anything else that you wanted to add, Jen?
I don't know why I feel like it's on my heart to say, when you say don't reinvent the wheel, I don't want you guys to feel like you have to copy Jen Dewey, myself, Emily, Holly, Yvonne, any Plexus jewels that you feel like relate to you best, that they're your style, they're your people. Follow them on YouTube, follow them on Facebook, and let them be your mentor as well, because we have amazing leadership on our team. But if you, for some reason, feel like it's not exactly what you need, keep searching for that different jewels. And Jen and I can help you find different names and everything of people to follow on YouTube, and just follow an array of jewels. I mean, I learned 90% of what I know from Emily, but I learned, the other 10% from jewels that I watch on YouTube too. So don't limit yourself to only your upline. All people that are at the top in Plexus know what they're doing. So follow whoever you feel like is speaking to you best. So.
Absolutely. I like that too. That's awesome. One of the people that I learned a lot from was Rachel Rogers. I can really relate to her. I mean, I'm not a fitness competitor by any stretch, but
no, I learned from her too. She speaks my language. Yeah, for sure. And Tara Castaneda, she's another, she's my people. Yeah.
She's my people. I will forever get crazy about Timmy Yancey. I love me some her. Like, if I don't meet her sometime soon, I will die. Like, I have like a little crush on her. She's so cute. But I just want to echo what Jen says. Find someone who you can really relate to, their style, their voice on Facebook and social media. I really like Rebecca Fultz too. I feel like she and I are like super goofy and weird, and we don't care really what we sound like on Facebook. But just finding who you resonate, or who resonates with you, whose ever voice.
That's good advice to listen to for sure, because some people feel like they have to do exactly what their upline's doing, but it's anybody.
We're all different people. We all have different voices, different sense of humor. Please use that. People love humor. So just find what works for you guys. You guys are all awesome. You wouldn't be here on this call if you weren't. So I'm going to wrap up now. We have 3.5 minutes left. You guys are
okay. Well, thank you so much, you guys, for having me, and thanks for listening. I know you guys hear plenty from me on the team page, so I hope you weren't disappointed to see that.
Thank you so much for being here, Jen. We'll talk to you soon, you guys.
Okay. Good night, guys.
Bye.